Welcome back, everyone, to some multiple choice questions. Today we've got them on our agency law. Let's dive right in, see what we got. Baker sold an automobile to Bob's Old Autos, where Fuller is a manager. Fuller took $100 from Baker for encouraging the sale. What duty to Bob's Old Autos did Fuller violate? Now, presumably, we don't see anything here about this being part of the contract. It's not like it mentions anything about commissions, and as such, it looks like we have some sort of conflict of interest. Fuller is the manager. Fuller is an agent. Fuller is an agent of Bob's Old Autos. Now, Baker gave the money to Bob's Old Autos. Fuller had a duty to Bob's Old Autos to give all of that money to the company, right? And Fuller didn't. So what's going on? What did they breach? Now, these are all different rights, but specifically here, rights and duties. What did Fuller violate? Well, reasonable care. I don't think Fuller violated reasonable care. There's nothing to indicate that. This question's not saying that Fuller didn't inspect the car before purchasing it and didn't do their due diligence. So I'm going to eliminate that one. Reimbursement happens when someone expends money and then is supposed to get money back for it, and that's not really what happened here at all. Now, loyalty, that's a good one, I think, because loyalty deals with acting solely in the interest of principle, specifically calling out that there should not be any kickbacks. And that's kind of what looks like what happened here. Fuller took a little money for themselves, slid a little off to the side, and said, I deserve this. Now, it doesn't matter what the rationale was. If you're thinking back to audit, kind of the fraud triangle, thinking about like the reasons for why people commit fraud, it doesn't matter. All that matters is Fuller took that money and as such breached the duty of loyalty. But we've also got one more, obedience. It's not specific. Now, you could make the argument that this was disobedient, but really, when you look at these questions, you kind of need to see which is this pinpointed toward the most. And in this case, I would say loyalty. Again, specifically, even in the lesson, we talk about how specifically kickbacks are not allowed. I mean, unless they're mentioned. If it's in the contract and you're allowed commission on some sort of purchase or sale or anything like that, then that's fine. But unless it's stated otherwise, we don't see anything about that here. Moving on, we've got Green, and Green entered into an oral agency agreement to purchase real estate on behalf of Smith. Subsequently, Green entered into a written contract to buy land from Davis without disclosing the relationship with Smith. Which of the following is Smith's best legal defense if Smith does not want the land? It's important for all these questions. Make sure you identify who is who. So Green entered into an agreement on behalf of Smith, Smith being the principal. Green seems to be the agent, and Davis seems to be the third party. This is a classic example. We see a million examples of these. Let's kind of dive through and see what possible answer choices we have. Now, Smith's best defense. Smith is the principal. What is a principal's defense? Well, if they don't want the land, Green failed to get the agency agreement in writing. Is that a possible choice? Well, possibly, yeah. I'm going to say this one looks like a pretty solid answer. Under the statute of frauds, an agency agreement for the purchase of real estate, and this is something we saw, right? Real estate is different, and real estate's important. It's got its own set of rules. This should be in writing. And since the agreement was oral, and this is the big kicker here in the beginning, this may not be legally enforceable. Now, it can be legally enforceable. If Smith wants to proceed and have the land, cool, totally fine, right? Totally fine, you can go and have the land, but if Smith does not want the land, it's looking like that is a good legal defense. Reading the other ones, though, let's run through them. Green failed to disclose Smith's relationship as principal. Well, it's true that this is the case. There was no disclosure of that. That doesn't provide a legal defense because the primary issue is with the enforceability of the oral agency agreement. Because it looks like here, I mean, Green was in an oral agency agreement for Smith. So Green did have some sort of authority, but it wasn't entered into properly. Continuing on, Green's act was a misrepresentation of Green's express authority. What are our thoughts with that? Well, Green's misrepresentation of authority may have legal consequences for Green, but it does not provide a defense for Smith not wanting the land. The main issue here, again, is with the legality of that oral agency agreement. Unless here Green failed to get Smith's consent before entering into the contract with Davis. Well, while obtaining consent is important for agency relationships, the primary issue here, again, is that it may not be enforceable due to the statute of frauds with the whole written situation. Final answer here, we're going to see that it is, in fact, letter A. That's what we got. Another great question in the books. Make sure you've seen as many examples as possible. Practice them yourself. You got this. You can do it. And I'll see you in the next one. Hey there. Are you ready to not only pass your CPA exams, but truly understand and enjoy the material while studying? I know it seems impossible, right? Especially to enjoy the material. We'll do it together. Tap into the power of cpa.examprep.ai, where we've got personalized quizzes, multiple choice questions, memorization guides, flashcards, simulations, all tailored to your learning. Our adaptive study planning puts you on the fastest path to success and lifts you back up if you fall behind. Avoid wasting your precious time and money attempting an exam with a low chance of passing, because who wants that? We want to get you through this process as quick as possible. Our exam readiness prediction lets you walk in with confidence, knowing that you're prepared for success on exam day. Thankfully, there's no payment method needed to get started, so why don't you come join us? Visit cpa.examprep.ai and let's achieve your exam success together.